Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. It's another cake challenge piece again. My brigade voted for the theme Aardman, and I'm a huge fan of Aardman Animations, who were the genius behind Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run, Flushed Away and many other fab creations. The mood board was just a collection of random characters, however they had full free reign on anything Aardman. I decided to go with a classic Feathers McGraw, but if you want to see what everybody else chose, stick around to the end of the video where you can vote for your favourite in the comments below. Now I'm just popping some ganache down on my board slightly towards the back to stick my 5-inch cake to. I'm just layering it up with chocolate buttercream until we are 4 cake layers high. At this point I'm placing in a little circle of foam core, and you'll notice it's quite a bit smaller than the circumference of the cake. This is just to give us lots of carving room. You'll also notice a hole in the centre, so we can fit a central dowel down the middle to keep him upright due to his tall, thin shape. I'm then just using a cutter to indent a circle to show me where to place my supports for it. I'm placing in 4 supports the same height as the cake so that the platform rests on this. I'm then ganaching it into place and pushing down a central dowel all the way through the middle. You then want to add some ganache to the top of the foam core to create a barrier and keep everything nice and stuck into place. We're then continuing stacking up our 5-inch cakes until we've got 6 layers. I then want to start trimming in the shape, rounding it in at the bottom and starting to taper it in at the neck part. You want to keep your chunky offcuts as we're going to use these to build up the rest of the neck and head. We're aiming for sort of a bowling pin shape. Here you can see we're now using the offcuts and sliding a kebab stick down into the straw just to add that extra stability for that thin neck. Now we've got our rough shape and we're going to coat the whole thing in a layer of chocolate ganache. This is not only to seal the cake's freshness in, but it's also going to keep it nice and stable. It doesn't have to be too pretty at this stage, we just want our first layer to set so that when we come to add our second layer, it now doesn't wobble around as much. This second layer we can take our acetate smoother to try and smooth out some of the surface. This is just like a bendy piece of plastic that you can curve in your hands. Now we have this really odd looking shape. It's quite round at the bottom and then his neck and head are all one sort of thickness all the way up. I've then rolled out my sugar paste into a large rectangle and I'm just unrolling it towards the back, smoothing it as much as I can with my hands. Where the back overlaps, just cut it down with a scalpel and remove the excess paste. There will also be a large bulk from the top, but don't worry about seams here because he does wear a hat. It's just a case of pushing and cutting them out flat. Then to smooth him out, you want to take a ball of sugar paste and push it into your fingers to create a custom smoother. What this does, it allows you to buff the surface of paste on a shape, because it will bend to all the contours. Once you're all done, I've just cut this random egg shape from greaseproof paper. I folded it in half and cut it so that it's perfectly equal all the way around. And then I'm just placing it where I want his belly to be and tracing the outline. This just shows me where I don't want to get any paint. I've got my big fluffy brush and some black airbrush colour and I'm just painting black straight on. You can of course cover it in black paste from the outset, it's just that this is a cheaper option as white paste is usually cheaper than black paste. I'm now covering the board using the toilet seat method. I always like to use this to clean up any rough bottom edges of the cakes, and also not use too much paste on the board. The full tutorial is always linked in the description box below. Next up is his little hat. I've got a very chunky red disc of sugar paste and I'm just laying it over the top of the head and smoothing the edges with my palm. I'm then inserting a cocktail stick to hold the fingers of the rubber glove because they do dangle towards the front and the back, and the best way to keep these on and stop them from falling off is with a cocktail stick. You just want to add the fingers to the back and the front, bending them slightly, and then 2 more in the middle. Then to finish off the line across the bottom, it's a sausage of red paste. This is pretty hard to see, but I'm just popping in his eyes, which are 2 black balls stuck on with a little bit of water. And the beak is made with some nice orange paste, which I'll roll into a ball, and then I start pushing it down against my work surface, creating a bit of a flat bottom, but then pulling it up to a cone. You don't want a perfect circle, you want a more elongated shape. Once I have my rough shape, I then cut the flattened end even flatter with a knife, continuing to pull out that beak shape. You'll see I'm inserting my cocktail stick down at an angle, and this is best for holding heavy items, rather than having it stuck on straight. You're kind of hanging it onto the cocktail stick. Just gently push that flat edge against the body. You can see he's already really coming together here. His legs are actually pink and not orange like his beak. These are just sausages stuck to the front with water, and I've cut out 2 chunky flipper shapes and placed them on my foam mat just to set up a little bit because they are super soft. Whilst those dry to one side, we're going to place on his flippers. These are just pieces of black paste kept quite chunky, and I'm laying them against the body, pushing that top edge over to make a nicer transition to the body. I'm then allowing these flippers to kind of just sit on the board naturally. I wanted to add some little catch lights to his eyes just so you can see the difference between the 2 blacks. And then I'm knocking some kebab sticks down into the board to support the feet. I'm just sticking the feet down towards the board with water and then trying not to move him too much until his feet are set in place. And that's it, all done. He looks nice and simple, but he creates such an impact due to how much of a classic character he is. I very nearly tackled Babs from Chicken Run instead, but I thought Feathers McGraw might appeal to more of you. Now let's see what the Brigadiers chose for their pieces, and don't forget to vote for your favourites in the comments below, as they do win a little prize. And if you want to join us for the next one, please do. We are currently voting for the next theme, and you can join the Brigade over on my website. We would love to have you. Thanks guys, see you next week.